Welcome to Rising Tides Live. I'm your host, Shawn Walchef. This is a Cali BBQ Media production. Today, we are talking about distribution. What does distribution mean? What can you use in your business, whether it's from media, whether it's from restaurants, whether you're a technology provider? We're going to have a great, deep conversation about what is distribution. I asked ChatGPT, it says, distribution is the process of getting your product, service, or content into the hands or eyes or ears of the audience you want at scale, efficiently, and repeatedly. It's everything that happens after creation and before consumption. So today we're going to talk about distribution. If you're new to the show, welcome. We appreciate you being here. We are a community, a rising tide lifts all ships. We are a community of storytellers, technologists, hospitality professionals, restaurant owners, small business owners, and we do the show twice a week. Every Wednesday, every Friday. This Friday, we have a Pitch the Tide series with the founder and actually the Chief Growth Officer, James Tice from Tab Commerce. So that will be our Friday show. We hope you join us. If you want to pitch the tide and pitch our community, whatever technology you're building in the restaurant hospitality space, you can send an email to podcast@calibbq.media, and Mike, our producer, will get you signed up. We have a running list that show has become very popular, which we do on Fridays. But let's go ahead and bring up the community. Thank you guys for listening. If you're watching on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on Instagram, welcome. Thank you for being here. The more people we have up on stage, the better the conversation is. So let's get into it. And first off, let's welcome Caleb. Caleb is new to the show. Caleb, thank you for being here. Take 60 seconds. Who are you? What are you building? And tell us a story about distribution. What does distribution mean to you in your frame, in your context?
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, everybody. I'm Caleb Hagen, founder of Luigi Appetizer. So we started recently, and our platform is for restaurants to connect, learn, and grow. That's our mission. We want to help 500,000 independent restaurants. And my version of distribution at this stage, we are pre-launch. So my version of distribution is just getting that exact mission narrative out to as many people as possible, so people know who we are, what we're about, and who we help.
I love it. I think welcome to the community. You have come to the right place. We are a community of storytellers. We are all working on our craft at better telling our story. We believe that no one's coming. The better that you get at telling people who you are and what you're building, the more you'll attract the right type of customers. 500. Why only 500,000? Why not 850? What's our total addressable market in the U.S.? Matt,
Right.
do you have what's our TAM?
We're
Right.
like a million.
That's where we
like
kind of base it off.
It's what?
I think it's a million, but I'm not
It's a
sure how
million?
many are independent. Let's
Okay.
go. I think about 500,000 might be right on independent.
500,000. Fair enough. Caleb, how'd you find out about the community, Caleb?
Yeah, actually, Colleen Silk says hello from Hospitality Bites, and that's the person that introduced me. I literally found out about this 30 minutes ago, so I'm a little bit nervous, kind of going in blind here.
Going in blind is how we do it best. You're more than welcome. We do the show every Wednesday, every Friday. If you have any topics that you want this community to talk about, please let us know what the topic you want us to talk about. If you want to host a show, we'll throw you right into the deep end and let you host a show. We have no problem doing that. But thank you for being here. And let's go ahead and go over to Hildy. Hildy, welcome. Who are you? What are you working on a Wednesday? And tell us what does distribution mean to you in your line of work?
Hi, I'm Hildy. Happy hump day to everybody. And while will always sell promotional product swag for a living, I'm really focused on goddessing events. And distribution for me right now is, if people know anyone in the Atlanta, Georgia community, I am hosting my free sing-along event. It's a way to bring more butts in seats in restaurants on off nights, where me and my team bring in what's needed for everyone in the room to sing out loud together. So the opposite of karaoke. And we're having our first event November 19th in Atlanta. So if you know either restaurateurs or corporate event planners, Mandy's been giving me the shout out fantastically, as Elizabeth has and Dean has as well. But that's what I'm working on. People just got to know that it's a brand new idea that came out of this genius head right here, this little itsy bitsy bean head. And I'm going to bring it all over the United States for people to have sing-alongs. This time it's Broadway, but it could be country, it could be women's empowerment, it could be Frank Sinatra, whatever people want to get more butts in the seats of restaurants. Back to you, Shawn.
Very cool. Thank you, Hildy. Congratulations on the launch. We appreciate it. And thanks for pitching the Tide. We appreciate that as well. That was an awesome pitch. Vinny, what's up? You're up.
What's going on, Shawn? Hello, everybody. So essentially, I'm based out of Florida. I do a lot of restaurant tech investing as part of a fund here in Florida, Tammy Angels. Also an advisor in the space to a lot of multi-units here in this area. And also building something in stealth mode that eventually will be, making public soon. So, but anyhow, my version of distribution is essentially determining whether it's an agency or non-agency approach, and then making sure that we're messaging what we want relayed in the best way possible, so that we can measure the results of distribution. So yeah.
Amazing. Do you have an example?
An example of distribution?
Yeah.
I think the quickest one that I can think of is maybe thinking about a newsletter and how we might create an affiliate partner through a newsletter based on what we're building, right? So basically we try to think about all of the best newsletters in the hospitality space, and then align with those that that might resonate with what we're working on, right? So hopefully that answers your question.
That works. Thank you, Vinny. Matt Wampler.
First off, big shout out to Matty Smokes. It's good to see him. I got to meet him for the first time in person this last week. It's nice to see you again, Matty. Two times in 2 weeks.
2 times in 2 weeks. How about that?
Matt Wampler, co-founder and CEO over at ClearCogs. As you always like to ask what we believe that when a restaurant knows its future, it can operate far more efficiently and profitably. That's what we do over at ClearCogs, demand forecasting. When it comes to distribution, there's I come from the restaurant industry, so I'm new to the world of tech and startups, but there's this quasi-famous saying, and that is first-time founders focus on product. Second-time founders focus on distribution. Because you find at the end of the day, you have the greatest product. If you can't get it out to people, that's kind of the linchpin and the hardest thing to do. And so, I sit here and say, what's a story in my life? We've gotten the privilege to be on the Toast Marketplace, which is a built-in distribution channel to all of these wonderful restaurants. We have a free product that we offer on the Toast Marketplace. And, it's amazing when you've got it out there in the right distribution channels. I mean, we sign up dozens every week as a result of that. So finding the right partners, the right way to distribute the product makes all the difference.
That was a phenomenal quote, a phenomenal story and example. Thank you, Matt. What about podcast? Let's talk media distribution, social media distribution.
Oh, I got no idea on that. I'm working out all the kinks on the podcast. Right now, it is the good old-fashioned marketing version of spray and pray. Make good content, put it out to the world, and we're waiting to see which of these distribution channels takes off the most. And frankly, it's crazy. It's like YouTube on people's actual physical TVs that does really well. I wish I had the map already figured out, but actively working on it.
Amazing. Yeah. ChatGPT says the modern definition in the digital era is any mechanism that connects you with what you create to your audience, whether it's through algorithms, platforms, social feeds, or owned media. It includes owned channels, so your website, email list, podcast feed, YouTube channel, your earned channels, PR, word of mouth, organic shares, paid channels, ads, sponsorship, boosted content, and then what Matt referred to, partner channels, co-marketing, integration, and collaboration. The line between creator and distributor has been blurred. The best creators own or control their own distribution. I think distribution is something we don't talk a lot about, but we rely heavily on. For those that know, we have a restaurant influencers show. Our distribution partner is Entrepreneur Magazine. So we make the content and Entrepreneur helps push it through their video syndication network. Some episodes get picked up by Yahoo and MSNBC. Some of them don't. If we knew what the magic formula was for getting the show to reach more people, we would lean heavily onto that. But as Matt said, it's less spray and pray now that we've been doing it for 3 years, but it is a huge value add for us to reach more people, not just for audio, but for video as well as for article views. Dean LeBay, you're up. Who are you? What are you working on a Wednesday? And you got a potato theory on distribution?
Oh, I don't know if I do or not, but my name is Dean LeBay, L-A-B-A-Y. I'm in New Orleans. And what am I working on? I've got a couple of things I'm working on. But as far as distribution's changed in the last 30, 40 years. When I was when I had an office supply printing company, distribution was, just-in-time inventory, just-in-time deliveries where products would come in and then you'd send your trucks out and deliver them just in time. And that was the distribution model. This is way before internet or social media, any of that stuff. So, it's changed over the years. I think I saw you in a podcast the other day. You were talking about distribution today. To me, is not word of mouth; it's word of phone. The phone is where everybody gets their information. The phone is the key to everything, because right now, everybody on this particular podcast has their phone on them. I mean, and that's with about 95% of the people out there in the world. So that's how the distribution is going to work going forward. What's the best platform? I don't know, but I do know this, that if you're not telling your story, somebody else is going to tell it for you. I saw a post on LinkedIn today, and the person never called out the company, but they were critical of the company. And the thing is, you can do the process of elimination and figure out who they're talking about. But that's distribution. Shawn, you talk a lot about the truth vibrates the fastest. Mm-hmm. That's the most exciting thing about the internet, because everything's moving at a rapid pace. And if you're not true, and if you're not the real authentic you, it will show up pretty quick. And that's a distribution probably a distribution portal you don't want to use, because I personally don't want to be associated with. So I don't know how the distribution is going to go forward. All I know is on my end, what I try to do is I try to introduce them to, making sure that they tell their story, because like you say, nobody else is going to tell it. So that's all I got. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you, Dean LeBay. Jason Berkowitz. It's a Wednesday. Arrow Up Training. This man has got many views on distribution. I know it. We've talked about it. Who are you, Jason? What's top of mind? What are you working on today? And tell us a story about distribution and the lens that Arrow Up is using.
Jason Berkowitz, longtime restaurant operator, partner. Happy to be here. Longtime caller and listener. Arrow Up helps restaurants satisfy compliance. We level up your teams, and we develop supervisors into leaders. Yes, Matt Wampler's still locking that one. And actually today, working on that even more, been given somewhat of the green light by partners and coaches to dive deeper into the manager operating system that we've been working on, which is taking more than training and turning it into task management. And I bring this up to say, what's great is we're going to be able to test this through a distribution partnership that I've been nurturing for years. And it's a third-party LMS, Wisetail. I love them. I think they're great. I'll absolutely say this out loud. Big company, yeah, and worked hard at getting them as a distribution partner, and started off as a sway of 70-30. I'm taking the lion's share. They're taking the smaller share, right? And my mom said something to me years ago when she started a retail business with her friend. She said, even though she was providing the clothes, she was providing all the stuff, to sell this. She goes, listen, 50% of something's better than 100% of nothing. Mm. And I loved that line, and I carried that over, and Wisetail came back to me and they said, look, we got to make this more worth our while. We love your content. You're the one that everyone's asking for. Give us a reason to pump this up. I said, what do you want? They said, split it with us. Let's go. We'll go even. It's great. Sounds good. And they have ramped up. It's a fantastic partnership. They push it out into the world. But now what I'm working on, right, this manager operating system that we're working on, Well, I have a built-in network through their technology
Mhm.
that we can use and start to test this out. And larger firms, what do they want? What's going on with it, right? I'm giving stuff away for free, getting them into the partnership, leveraging this distribution and this full access to thousands of restaurant locations to narrow it down and say, well, is there a there where I'm just putting my time in? And as that works, I'm able to take that, use that into allocating resources toward to things for my own company or my own tech, which works with smaller restaurant groups and isn't really a competition to them. So I love distribution networks for money. I love it for accessing, but I love it to use it because you've tapped into a network where you can test things as you build. And as you look at that, and Matt, that was a great opening line. You hit me right in the gut with that first-time founders work on product, second distribution. You know, I was kind of having that talk today of that come to Jesus on that. So leveraging the product through distribution and being able to weave that together is really cool. I'm really appreciate that I spent those years nurturing that relationship with such a strong partnership.
It's a great story. And I think what I would like to hear more about, because oftentimes when somebody smaller partners with somebody larger, like Cali Barbecue Media partnering with Entrepreneur, much larger network, they become our partner. We're 50-50 partners with Entrepreneur as well. But I think the angle that we take is they have lots of partners that they distribute. There's other podcasts in the network, there's other writers, there's other creators. But our job, to your point, Jason, is you're going to do just as much from Arrow Up to promote Wisetail as Wisetail. Like, you might even be doing more. And that's totally fine, living in the mantra. And, you know, to Matt Wampler and ClearCogs, I know Matt and his team talks just as much about the Toast integration, if not more, than Toast will do, even though having them in the marketplace.
Yeah. And something else that kind of brings that up is you add value because we want to bring people to them, right? We want to be those partners that bring people through. And look, we work with other LMSs as well, and we're growing and who we'll work through. And I think it's good for people to have options, but I will show who's the partners and why and what fits for certain groups and make sure that it's working. Something else that you brought in, I think that's important in this partnership is, I think one of the reasons we have the best content that they're selling, and I absolutely believe it. It's incredible. But I came into the partnership, and I think they would say this, as somebody who was managing the door, who's a general manager, right? Who said, how can I make you so wowed by this relationship beyond the product? How do we go so above and beyond? Right now, we're bending over backwards for a potential client that I might lose money on this thing, but I'm not thinking of it that way. I'm thinking of, how do I make it so easy for them that they just say, just call Jason. It's not only going to be great, it's going to be easier, it's going to be less friction. And we can't underestimate. And so, sorry, but I'm picking up on what you're talking about, is like the human side of the partnership, that they know that you're there with them, right? So it's not only driving people to their business, which is absolutely important, but it's just making their life easier. And let's go back to if we all run a reservation book. If you're nicer to the person, there's a chance they're going to be a little bit more apt to give you the table. Like, just be cool with people and ask yourself, how do I just make it a no-brainer that life is just easier, and we're a great partner for whomever we're working with, and taking that. So it's above and beyond not just bringing the business, but lowering the time that they have to deal with the BS internally, that then they're able to spend in other ways in marketing and helping them win the deals.
Yeah, I think, you know, if you look at the digital distribution that we all have, no matter how big your business is, no matter how small your business is, if you're an individual solopreneur, like, we have the ability to put overwhelming proof of what we say. If we say we're great partners, we'll prove it. You know, go to the internet and see, you know, Cali Barbecue and what we've done for Toast. Like, Toast knows, but so does the internet. Like, there's overwhelming proof of the work that we've done over the last 5 years with that partnership. And in the spirit of rising tide lifting all ships, Jason, meet Caleb. Caleb, meet Jason. Caleb, will you reintroduce yourself, since you guys both play in the same sandbox? But as we know, restaurant technology all overlaps, and I'd love for you guys to have a conversation offline, but more importantly, introduce yourself to the community. So Caleb, go ahead. Again, this is good practice.
Yeah, good practice for the mission and narrative.
Get those reps in, man. Get those reps in.
Absolutely. I need like about 10,000, 500,000 plus more. So, hi, Jason. I'm Caleb. And for those of you who joined also after as well, I'm Caleb, founder of Luigi Appetizer. So, who we are, what we do, we are building a platform for independent restaurants to connect, learn, and grow. And we want to help 500,000 restaurants do that. And our version of distribution is telling as many people as we can that exact statement, so that way people know.
Are you guys live, Caleb?
I am not. No, I like I was saying, I kind of just got introduced to this like 30 minutes beforehand, and so I didn't know what I was going into, going in blind, and so I'm just happy to be here, and hopefully I can help somebody
Is your
in the
product live?
audience.
What's that? Is the product live?
Oh, nope. We are in pre-launch. So right now, that is our main strategy, is getting the word out to as many people and to get feedback, and test. We do have a prototype. We will be running research rounds with that very shortly.
Awesome. Very cool.
Caleb, are you a LMS system? What exactly is your service? I don't know if I caught that.
Yeah. So basically, the concept is a platform for restaurants. So think of like LinkedIn, Facebook, and Duolingo combined, but for restaurant operators only, so they could hop on and try to quickly get, or if they like to spend more time to figure out something that's helpful for them. So like one of the cool features, I'll just say it out right now, one of the cool features that we have on our prototype is we have specific tabs. So like we have a labor tab, pricing tab, menu tab, different tabs that are relevant to restaurant people, so they could easily hop in there in the network and see what other people are saying that work for them. They can go and apply it to their own restaurant, and hopefully that is something that's very helpful for them, and they can keep going back. And so I really like it because, as for restaurant operators, they're focused on getting the food out really fast. So if they could hop on quickly and get value from it, I think that's really important.
Is it like a social media platform, like a
right,
place, like a Reddit type of community?
Yeah.
Interesting. So it's just feedback from the community on how you might improve an approach. Is that the gist of it?
Yeah, we'd like the core to be peer-to-peer driven. Later on, we'd love to expand into more of a marketplace as well, so they could, view different tools, resources, what have you, that would be helpful for them.
Very cool. Nice.
Very cool. Well, thank you, Caleb, for reintroducing yourself twice. That might be a first. Naki, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here. Who are you? What are you working on a Wednesday? And tell us a story or what your views are on distribution from a business sense.
Absolutely. It's great to see all these faces. And Caleb, welcome to the community. You've done a great job introducing yourself. It's a pleasure to meet you. I wish you a great success in your endeavor. So my name is Naki Soyturk. I'm the founder of Across Restaurant Consulting. What I'm working today is I finished my book. A lot of you who know me, like you know me with my glasses, right? Now I don't see that I don't see close with them because I've been writing this book for the last 3 months, right? 10 hours looking at the screen. Now I don't see. Now I'm farsighted. Both farsighted and nearsighted. I don't see much nowadays. But the book is almost done. It's a restaurant business book that basically talks about our process at Across, what we do, and how we help the restaurants, and how restaurants can help themselves by applying our methodology. Something that I always wanted to do and give back to the restaurants. We'll probably launch it in the next month or so. Yeah. So now I'm at the final editing phase, which is the hardest thing, picking the words out. Is this word better than this word? As someone who's not really detail oriented like me, it's hard to keep my butt on the seat nowadays. So that's what I'm working on. So from a distribution standpoint, Shawn, So I was lucky in my operator days to work with some of the best and the smartest in the business. And when I started my consulting business, referrals have always been my go-to. So much so that I got super comfortable in the referral space. But 1.5 years ago, I realized like I need to do something. I need to sell. I need to do some of the sales work myself too. So I started, posting and doing a bunch of stuff. I think from a content and like self-distribution standpoint, just like anything else in the world, is like a lot of effort, I think, goes to the black hole at first.
Yeah.
Let me tell you what I mean. So I hired these like SEO folks. They wrote an article based on my articles. So basically, like, I gave them my book, 1,000 pages that I have written so far, and they wrote like, I think, like maybe 5 or 6 out of 10. Then I made it like 7 out of 10, in my opinion. And the year version was seen by 600 views in a month on my website, compared to the what I think is incredible articles that I have written, like 1 view or something like that. So this goes back to what Matt said, like, because they are writing an article that's optimized for view, right? They are not writing this article for the black hole or to serve the community and hope that somebody's going to find that article. No, they write SEO optimized article. The reason I say this is, at first we will fail. We will find the wrong people. We will say the wrong things. People will not pick us up. But it's basically with concentrated effort, and most of us are restaurateurs or worked in the industry. And grit is isn't that one of our strengths? So it's just that channeling the same grit onto this angle. To me, this is the painful angle. This marketing and sales has always been a painful thing for me, because I'm asking for some people to do something. I'm used to people asking me to do something, not the other way around. So that hasn't been super easy for me. But what I'm saying is, and I'm not saying that I have been doing that, but I'm just telling it to myself, like, show your grit on this side. A lot of time and money will be spent on the black hole, but some things will be learned. Good people will be met along the way, and those good people will provide very specialty knowledge, or they will change. Like, I did podcast. One of the podcast episodes was with Shawn, and thank you so much for that, Shawn.
Of course.
So there are probably like 30 other things that I need to do to make that podcast go from here to here. I always thought that podcast is teaching me and me teaching others something. That's why I didn't like promote it I didn't use it like a sales tool or something like that. But I know that if I was to do that, I need to do like 30 other things to do that. Each one of these is just like restaurants, a chain of events.
Yep.
That needs to be optimized, and a lot of time, effort, and specialty knowledge would need to go into finding the right medium, optimizing it, and make sure that you get the results that you desire. But the 80% effort gets you 0% result that I can vouch for.
Yep. That's awesome. Great stuff. Congrats on the book. You're going to need distribution. Part of this community's superpower is distribution. We help each other. Whether you're on a podcast, you have a podcast, you have a post, you're launching a product, whatever you're doing. We have a Slack channel. We have a LinkedIn group chat. We have an Instagram group chat. If you guys want to join those, please email me at podcast@calibbq.media. We will get you added to those channels. Elizabeth Doss, who are you? What are you working on? And tell us a story about distribution, or how do you look at it?
Yeah, sure. Can you hear me okay?
I hear you great. Nice,
Okay, good.
nice mic.
seems to be flaking in and out a little bit. My name is Elizabeth Doss, and I am a social media consultant, content creator, manager, but I also operate in the realm of animated GIFs. I'm a verified artist with Giphy. My GIFs have been viewed over 6 billion times, and I help brands and businesses get their own views in that place. And so when you're talking distribution, I was thinking, okay, how do I answer this question being a non-restaurant person? But I will say, Giphy is doing this on a global scale and on an astronomical scale of serving up 14 plus gifts, 14 plus billion gifts to 1 plus billion people every day.
Insane.
Every day. So when I'm talking to clients and things and saying, you know, there's this opportunity when you add keywords, you know, Naki was talking about keywords, et cetera, SEO, there is GEO, GIF engine optimization, and that when people type in words in the GIF search, they are looking for things to send. But if you have strategically placed yourself in the right place, then you will be viewable, visible to those people. And we always add your website or your handle to it so that if they want to know more, they could come find you. So that brand awareness side, but also your community getting to use them, all those things. I did a whole show on it, you guys, when I pitched the Tide. If you guys want to pitch the Tide, talk to Shawn or Mike. So if you want to check out one of the episodes on the YouTube channel, and there's been some really great people that have shared their stuff. So, okay, I wanted to run through this really quick. I hope that's okay. But just the understanding, because of talking social media distribution side of things, and understanding that you need to get familiar, or whoever is running your social media needs to be familiar with the different platforms and the different functionality of those platforms so that you are harnessing the best way that things get distributed from those platforms. So I wanted to mention that. And this is something Shawn in the team do amazing at. One particular thing in the collaborations function. Now, if you're doing a podcast, because I'm helping a little bit with different people, if you're doing a podcast or you're showing up on something, but you're not harnessing, grabbing the guests' social media information and tagging them in the content that you're producing for them, you're missing out on cross-pollinating those audiences. So don't just think that you can add their name and it's enough. Make sure that you're tagging them in it. Make sure you're letting them know it's coming. That's something that Matt, I think, has talked about, is that giving that heads up to your community, but also to those people, because more than once people are like, oh, I didn't know it was going live today. And so adding that part to the calendar and the whole customer journey in your podcasting, that you should bookend the other side of saying, here's things for how you can send it. Mike does this great for Cali Barbecue. He sends us the links and the notes and the things from after when we share, so that we can then harvest from that to be able to share. So make sure you're tagging people for collaborate. And one last thing I wanted to talk about was creating shareable content. I'm sad that Jason had to jump off, but this idea of, if you want distribution and virality, you need to be creating content that people want to share. Now, sometimes sales can do that. Sometimes you can hit that sweet mark where what you're selling is what takes off. But more often than not, it's not what you're selling, but the emotions that are surrounding it. This is where meme culture lives. This is where virality lives. And I've been watching Jason on LinkedIn because they've started to use GIFs in some of their training things, just that loopable, hey, remember to do this, but doing it with a nod at being funny. And I was reading this quote about comedy the other day, that memes, GIFs, humor in what you're doing, it finds the truth in absurdity. Mm-hmm. And how can you harness that to create shareable content that your loyal fans want to distribute, or that people say, oh, because you've been laughing at a comedian once so hard that you're just crying laughing and you're like, it's so true. It's so true. But how can you harness truths in and around your business, maybe the pain points, the problems that people are facing, harness the truth of those matters, and then amp up the absurdity of it. Like one of Jason's gifts is this picture of this dog. It's one of those really long haired dogs. I don't know what they're called, but the dog's hair is like blowing in the wind, and it just says, "Remember to tie back your hair." And so, because he's doing these microdose learning type things that he's sending to people. So I want to say that. And I also wanted to give a shout out to Steven Swiderski and the team over at Cali Barbecue, because if you're not following them on TikTok, you are definitely missing out, because they are trying to harness the humor side of things. And Shawn, I just went through a little bit just to do a very, very quick rundown. And the TikToks that are getting the most views are the ones that have over 20 shares.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason that they're shareable is because he is tapping into restaurant culture.
Yep.
And some of the funny things that happen in and around, and they get shared, and then they get those more and more views. I mean, guys, some of the TikToks have hundreds of thousands of views. And so I just wanted to throw that into the distributing part of things is, are you creating content that your community wants to share? And again, it's finding those little true, that Venn diagram of things that are true, things that are absurd, and things that are relevant to you and your business. And I know that we may have some people waiting in the audience, and I want to encourage anyone else, if you can, to make sure that we make room for the people that are coming up. And so with that, I'm going to sign off and
Elizabeth,
let the next
yeah.
person take over.
Hey, quick shout out to Elizabeth, talking about distribution and gifts. You motivated me like 18 months ago to make some gifts and put them on Giphy. And it's crazy. Good distribution. I just checked. They've gotten 13 million impressions.
That's insane.
It's insanity.
Wow.
Thank
That
you.
is super cool. So I have a definition. Distribution is the art and system of making sure what you create gets seen, shared, and monetized again and again. Matty Smokes, you're up, brother.
What's going on, guys? I'm Matty Smokes, owner-operator, Matty Smokes Barbecue and Catering, and JJ Cooper's restaurant in Long Beach, New York, not California, the city by the sea. And so working a lot on brand development. And after the whole week at Create, hanging out with Matt Wampler and Shawn and Troy, we had a good time. And so when it comes to distributions, I mean, right now as a caterer and a single store unit in Long Beach, it's tough. I mean, you got to make sure people are coming in the door and trying your product. And just because they come and have it once or twice doesn't mean that they're ever going to come back again. So we've got to kind of get them to 4 and 5 times. A lot of belief that third-party delivery programs like DeNova with Laura, and exposure to our location so that people can hear about us. Social media, reels, videos. You almost got to let people feel like they can taste your food without having to actually taste it. Just, looking at an image or a video and becoming hungry from that alone. We also utilize 5-star rewards program, where every customer is going to get a text message after a reservation program to make a review for us, to increase our amount of reviews and our exposure on all those review pages. We have a weekly email program at this point, going out to almost 8,000 people for the restaurant, just keeping up to date on events and promotions with what we're doing. Even food festivals are a great mode for us, because if we can get into a fall festival or a wing fest, possibly winning an award if need be, but that's always great because the exposure is tremendous. And then collaborating, and in a way of collaborating, I think for restaurants, something that I learned this week while I was in Nashville was groups like the Savory Fund, where these are huge machines that once you become a part of their network and utilize the tools that they have, your distribution network just becomes that much larger. So that's something that I'm looking toward in the future, because it just takes you from one level to a whole nother level. All right, but thank you guys.
Awesome. Appreciate you, Matty. Charlie Eblin, 3rd time's a charm, 4th time's a charm. Driving time's a charm.
6. I'm not sure how many times I've logged in today, but I'm here.
You're here. Not as easy as Clubhouse on StreamYard.
I'm here, ready to rock and roll, and maybe I can have a little bit better introduction than I can.
We can't hear you, Charlie.
You're cutting out on us, Charlie.
I'm happy to stand in as Charlie.
That would be great. Matt, can you do a
Speak for Charlie.
Single tree impersonation, please?
Well, let me tell you, I'm Charlie Eblin down here in Murfreesboro,
A
Tennessee.
little deeper. We need a little deeper.
You know, fundamentally, we believe in building community. You know, Single Tree Barbecue, we started as vision. We started to become the Nike of barbecue. That means, you know, not just to just do it, but how do we bring everybody together in our mission? And, you know, I'm grateful for everybody here, and I appreciate you taking time and bringing me on, Shawn.
Beans or mac?
You know, it's a great question. If you have a chance, you should check in my podcast, Single Tree Nation. This is a question we ask everybody, and we get some fascinating answers. But me, I'm a beans man.
You got a little Southern draw to you, Matt.
Good job, Matt.
I think if I keep going, I could just go off the rails. Getting deeper every minute.
Fantastic. Laura, welcome back. Looks like you had an incredible trip. Thank you for bringing us along. We appreciate it. Phenomenal storyteller. Laura, who are you? What are you working on? And tell us a story about distribution. And tell us something cool that you learned in your travels.
Thank you so much. Great to be back. I've learned so much, and I always do with all of you. So thank you for showing up. I'm Laura Wilbur. I believe showing up is 80% of success. And when we show up consistently, we're unstoppable. For business, I'm in the business of showing up for my restaurant clients and bringing friends. And by friends, I mean millions of expense account diners who are looking for great restaurants when they're traveling for dine-in, carry-out, catering, and private events. And Maddie Smokes, thanks so much for being a partner. We're so excited. And I'm excited to share some of the distribution channels that we have at DeNova, which are really unique. And so in my career, which has been a few decades now, I started out in radio sales, radio advertising. And this was at a time when radio really had tremendous capture of attention. And Shawn and I have talked a little bit about live remote broadcasts and all the zany contests that, you know, our promotions teams and program managers used to do in radio that are absolutely what's happening on YouTube and TikTok today with Mr. Beast and a lot of these content creators are sort of just repurposing all the zany radio promotions that used to happen. I'm hearing a little feedback. Are you guys? Is somebody unmuted? Yeah. Okay.
Charlie, can you mute yourself?
I wonder if that's it. Okay. Anyway, Charlie, we miss you. Matt did a great impression there. That was so much fun. But anyway, fast forward today. Throughout my career, I've been constantly trying to figure out how do I provide the most value for my clients in the service, product and service that I represent. And I've been with DeNova going on 6 years now. And what I think is so great about DeNova is the distribution channels that we have for our restaurant partners that are really unique and the only place that you can get them. So integration into expense management tools for corporate clients, attendance at travel expos and fairs. DeNova is the only invited restaurant representative for these global companies when they have their travel fairs for all of their employees. We're there to do nothing other than share with them who are their official restaurant partners who have signed up and want to provide value back to them as an official partner. So earlier in the talk today, we talked about, several of you talked about, and I think Matt, you mentioned your Toast channel partnership and how meaningful that has been for you, and how because you were an official partner, business is getting shifted to you, right? In a way that if you weren't, you just wouldn't even have access to these customers. And that's exactly how it works with DeNova Corporate Dining, is the restaurants that are on the platform and in the marketplace are preferred restaurant partner, and the revenue gets shifted to them instead of the expense account diners just dining anywhere. So yeah, newsletter and inclusion, expense management tools, travel management tools with geo search capabilities for the restaurants that are closest to these company issued card holders. When they're traveling, they can find a variety of restaurants that are nearby. So this is something I never knew existed before I joined DeNova 6 years ago. And I just think it's such a special way to get behind the firewall and get access to the decision makers at the companies. So anyway, that's just a very unknown way to distribute the restaurant's message if you're trying to get more expense account diners early and midweek and raise your average check. I've heard something that attention is the currency of opportunity. And we've all talked about it today, but the idea of, you don't have to really be best. You just have to be the most known in the space. And it's crazy how the whole digital economy has just changed so much. And all of you for showing up and all the work that you're putting in to be thought leaders and keep giving back to the community and providing value is establishing you as the authority in your specific space. So keep going, and just, excited to be part of the conversation.
Do you have a story from your travels, some hospitality or technology that stood out?
I think Paris is so incredibly lucky to have the booming tourist business that they do. Mm-hmm. And I was there in early to mid-October. It's crazy because I was there when right before the crown jewels were stolen from the Louvre. Has everybody seen this on the news?
No.
Which is just like Ocean's 11. Some people dressed up as construction workers had a cherry picker lift, like a basket lift, went up the side of the Louvre Museum, broke in the window, and in less than 4 minutes were out the door with $100 million in jewels. Literally.
How have I not heard about this? Do I live under a rock? I don't have internet. This doesn't get in my feed? How's that possible?
Sean, there's this thing called social media.
It's called internet. Should I be on the internet? Oh my god!
It's absolutely nuts that they got away with this. And
I want that content. That's great.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so sad. I mean, this stuff is completely priceless. And of the 35,000 works of art that they have in the Louvre Museum, they only had like two little displays of these jewels.
Wow.
And it's just this irreplaceable, priceless part of our history that's just
They haven't
gone.
found them? They haven't found the thieves?
No. And what happens is they usually...
The moral of this entire story is they stole them, but the hardest thing is going to be distribution.
Exactly.
Touche, Matt. Touche. How are you going to distribute? Let's get Jason back.
They won't be able to distribute, though. They dropped the crown in the street while trying to run away, and they damaged the crown. It was terrible.
I mean, I watched the Thomas Crown Affair. I'm not sure. Did they? Was that the crown?
Right?
Well, yeah.
But okay, sadly, what I read is that they usually will dismantle and, cut down the diamonds and the different jewels into unrecognizable sizes and then sell them that way, which again, the history that is lost through that is terrible. But that's a complete sidebar. What I was saying is Paris is so lucky to have all of the tourists that want to go there, myself included. The restaurants from morning till midnight, completely packed with the outdoor seating. And I thought this was interesting, and I wanted to see if anybody in the community has a thought on this, but they put 15% service or gratuity baked into the menu price, plus all the taxes are baked into the menu price. So you get a bill and it's just the grand total. There's no tax, there's no tip. If you want to tip a little bit, like maybe another 5% for outstanding service, you can, but it's truly not expected and it's not the norm at all for the locals. So what I figured out is a Michelin starred restaurant, French restaurant, white tablecloth, fine dining, full service restaurant. My bill in Paris was half what I would pay for the same experience in New York or any, Michelin starred restaurant in the US.
Wow.
So I just felt like that was so interesting. And it's because I don't know. I can only imagine that the rent has to be high there. And so if anybody has any insight into how they're able to pull this off and we're not in the US, I would love to talk about it.
Yeah, I'll jump in here. So this is kind of like jumping off your story. So up here in northern Michigan, a lot of the restaurants are like mid busy, so they're moderately busy, and then have fall off times. But I went to Detroit recently for on demo day, and I went into this restaurant, super nice restaurant, nobody in it, not a single person. And I was like, what the heck? And you're telling a story about something the complete opposite, where it's busy all day long. So that would be definitely interesting to talk in depth about. That's all I wanted to say, is just share the story of how I had the complete opposite experience where we are, which is kind of what you were saying inadvertently, like, oh, in Paris it's super busy. So you were already saying, it's not like that here in a lot of places where it's from open to close busy. A lot of times people have labor issues, like extremely high labor during certain hours, and usually that, at least in quick service, what I've seen working with them is it's like, they'll open at 8 a.m. but only makes $700 up until 10, 11 a.m. And then it, skyrockets till about 2 p.m. up here, and then it'll drop off, dinner rush, drop off for the rest of the night. And then sometimes there's late night activity if you're open that late, but yeah.
Caleb, such a good point about, volume being able to make up for a lot. So if you're blessed with, really high volume, all of a sudden, a lot of your other expenses go down. Matt, do you have any thoughts about the COGS on this topic?
Sales cures all.
Jason Berkowitz, can you do a Matt Wampler impression, since Matt did a Charlie Eblin impression? Or Troy Hooper, you get to pick.
Troy Hooper, all you have to do is just say, come on, guys, why aren't you picking me? I like to make fun of Troy.
You can't land the plane. You got to go on for a long time after that.
You just talking. If you heard Troy in a podcast, and I've said this to him, I'm like, you ask the question, they're so ready to talk, and then you find 7 different ways of asking the same question or making the same damn point, Troy. Get out of the way. So I'll say that with that.
We love you, Troy.
Elizabeth.
Troy's in Japan, and he didn't join us from the plane, so I don't know.
No, but I'm watching Matt on Chad Powers, Glenn Powell nightly now on Hulu. I know Matt gets that one. He's got that comparison that you just can't break that comparison, which isn't a bad one.
Elizabeth, did you have a thought on that?
Yes. 2 things to respond to. One, we noticed the same thing. The restaurants, we didn't have a plan on restaurants. My husband just would look down the street and say, that one's busy. That must be where people like to go. Even though there's a restaurant right next to it that was probably comparable.
That's like opposite of our family goes, that one's busy, we're going to the one that isn't busy. Like we don't want to wait in line.
Right. I second Shawn with that.
and I get that too, but that was his take on it. Is like, we know that people like eating there, so we're gonna go there. But one thing that stood out, Laura, is that because there was no tips involved, and it wasn't their job to turn over that table, and it's the mentality to sit and eat and enjoy your meal in Europe. There is you aren't rushed to get to vacate that table. If they're busy, they're busy. They're not gonna, but in the States, you feel that, that quick service where we got to hurry up and do this. The second thing I wanted to say, back to the crown jewels. We'd gone to Paris and to London. Well, we saw the London crown jewels, which are at the Tower of London. They are behind this super thick door, like they have a safe, like, you know, you're walking into a vault in that. So I do want to compare the fact that this was on like a top floor balcony, the accessible, like there was no, and the security guard filmed the people, like because they threatened them and they're like, yeah, just take whatever you want. I'm not gonna give my life for these things anyway. But we were in the Tower of London and I was looking at the crown jewels. I had my little notebook, it was glitter, and I had my funky little pen. I'm in a bright red coat. I am not like trying to hide here. And I was just like so fascinated about whose crowns these were and all this stuff. But the yeoman, who was the guard, came over to me and basically accused me of scoping the joint and said, "You're not allowed to take notes. You're not allowed to." So I'm like, we compare the two. So I was just think one of my favorite things to laugh about is that I was accused of trying to steal the crown jewels of England and compare that to people smash and grabbing the ones from France.
Well, why don't you start us off, Elizabeth? What's your tip, takeaway, homework assignment on distribution?
So I forgot to mention this, Shawn, because I know I sent it to you privately, but Netflix and Spotify are linking up. Now, it's limited distribution right now, but video podcasts may soon be available on Netflix. Searchable, findable, consumable on that side. So they're starting to test this out and see. So instead of, and this came from Riverside FM, who we had used before, we still use them for our show. But if you're curious about that, I'll drop the link in the group chat on Instagram. But this idea of, are you making just like, are you just having conversations, or are you producing a show? And really getting in that mindset, and then making sure you've positioned yourself in the right place to be distributable. So that is my homework assignment for you guys to research that and check it out. Back to you, Shawn.
Amazing. Jason Berkowitz, tip, takeaway, homework assignment.
It's okay if you play the long game with distributors. We'll see where it comes back around. During my InsurTech phase, which we are still growing, I thought insurance brokers were going to be the best distributors. They were absolutely terrible. So I pulled out of that distribution network, but I'm still absolutely keeping the leads warm. As the industry starts to find its way back, I'll be positioned. So some things aren't as immediate or as acute, but you got to know when to stop deploying resources, but still manage the relationships along the way.
Great stuff, Jason. Laura, tip, takeaway, homework assignment.
I would like to give a shout out to my mentee from the Gleam organization, Sarah. She texted me saying that she's tuning in. Awesome. And she works at Midwest Foods, and she's a salesperson there. So she's really wanting to learn more about, how to be the best, provide the best solutions and service for her customers that she's selling. And she's in Chicago. So would love to include her in the network. And Sarah, follow all of the folks here. It's a really helpful community, and we appreciate you joining us today. And let's see, another tip. I liked I wrote down what you said, Elizabeth, related to creating content people want to share. And I love what you're doing, Jason, with your photos. And it really is thought-provoking about some of the not to-dos on, just kind of things that used to happen in the restaurant business or in the workplace that are absolutely not okay, that we all thought, decades ago was no big deal. So you're really taking me down memory lane on some of this stuff. So thank you.
Thanks. Awesome. And Elizabeth, thank you for those shout outs. I was listening. I know I popped off stage, but I appreciate all that. I was hearing you. And
thank you. And welcome, Sarah. We hope to have you up on stage to learn more about what you're building and how the community can help you. Thank you, Laura, for including Sarah. Matt, tip, takeaway, homework assignment.
I think my takeaway is, if there's something you really care about, don't hire the French to protect it. whether it's the
touche, Matt, touche.
Whether it's the country or just a museum, if somebody invades, they just say, yeah, it's yours.
Wow, fantastic, good stuff, Matt, and great impersonation of Charlie. We'll clip that up and post it all over the internet for the Single Tree Nation to enjoy. Vinny.
Yeah, I guess takeaway is strip down your message so that it lands or sticks well with some of your distribution channel partners. Just meet them where they are with what you want to relay. So
That's a great point. If people don't know who you are and what you do, they can't tell someone else. So if you confuse, you lose. Don't be confusing about what you do and how you help. Maddie Smokes.
So for me, what Laura was saying, don't necessarily be the best, but you don't have to necessarily be the best, but you just got to be readily available. So for me right now, it's, I'm kind of only available in one location. So diversification. And, if you think about McDonald's, every time I'm hungry, there's always a McDonald's to be found. And it's not very good, but we'll still go and eat a cheeseburger. So how can I just be more readily available for the world?
Yep. Caleb, welcome to the community. Hope you got something out of it. What's your tip, takeaway, homework assignment? Thanks for being here. We hope to have you back.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it so far. It's great being a part of the group, and thanks for everyone being so welcoming and introducing me. I appreciate it. My takeaway, I wrote it down because I didn't want to forget it. Master your narrative, make it simple, bold, and inspiring, and get it to as many people as possible.
That's it. Distribution, the art and system of making sure what you create gets seen, shared, and monetized again
Absolutely.
and again. Amazing stuff. Mike, thank you for producing the show. Thank you, Elizabeth, Caleb, Laura, Maddie, Vinny, Jason, and everybody that joined. We appreciate you. Friday, we have Tab Commerce. James Tice, Chief Growth Officer, will be pitching the community. So we need you guys to all come up and act as sharks, give feedback on the Tab Commerce hit. That's Friday, 10 a.m. Pacific time. If you guys want to pitch the tide, reach out to us. As always, stay curious, get involved. Thank you for asking for help. Hope you guys on Friday.